Cabin in the Woods, which, to be honest, I was very cynical about at first because the advertisements always claimed it's redefining horror. Redefining horror. Redefining horror, yeah. And me and Reject went to it, and we were pleasantly surprised considering I was very cynical at first, as I told you. And I said, well, and then I saw Spoony One's review, which did not make it sound good at all. Made it sound like Mr. Pretentious Wheaton. And then after watching Cabin in the Woods, we both came out extremely surprised. Also, this movie's rated R. Whedon's never did anything rated R before, right? Just doesn't seem like his cup of tea, but I came off of Dr. Horrible, and that's probably the only place where I've actually ever seen a Whedon movie. I heard he was doing the Avengers, and apparently he did, like, Firefly, which is a huge sensation among quite a bit of nerds, apparently. And he's responsible for Buffy. But apparently this movie, as I learned from Brad Jones' review, which I just watched this morning, or today, since it's like 3 and not the morning anymore, apparently this movie was made 3 years ago and is just now being released, which is strange. And it's also a good movie for 420. And this is a spoiler, because this proves that it redefines horror, so I'll probably, like, put spoiler things somewhere. Yeah. But this is a movie where the stoner... Oh, I get by with a little help from my friend. I get high with a little help from my friend. Is intelligent. And he also is a survivor of the movie until everyone dies at the end of the movie because of the decision him and the girl make. I can't remember her name. I remember the stoner's name is Marty. The jock's name is Kirk. I don't remember the 2 girls' names or the black guy's name. But the black guy also proves that this redefines horror because he's not one of the last people to die. And his death isn't all that gruesome compared to the one the girl had to suffer. And I would say Kirk's is pretty gruesome too. Considering I was rooting for him and I felt he got really cheated out of a fighting chance. Which is one of the biggest problems I have in the movie, is how much it felt like the people were cheating. But, you know, they have to cheat because they have a god to appease. Yeah, there's a god to appease in this movie. Or the ancients, or the ancient god. They were, if I remember correctly, they kept referring to them as the ancients, but all we saw was one ancient god at the end of the movie. So. Also, ancient god. New gods I can really understand there being a name for, and that's the time I can understand. Rant. I'm not gonna get it. But, because that's just me nitpicking out a name. It really showed a lot of... Like, at the end, you know how his idea to make it okay, he had the idea to make it pretty much a B movie the entire time, doesn't take itself seriously even at the end when it gets darker. It was pretty dark the entire time, actually. Which is weird because it had a bunch of likable characters. Like, almost everybody in this movie was likable. Great idea. The end and the monsters. At the end, we decides, I'm going to put Pinhead ripoff in this. And the last unicorn. I'm thinking it's the last unicorn because you'll only see one unicorn and it stabs a guy and it's not black. Yep, that was a reference to Voltaire. And not the last unicorn as like the one you probably saw the movie when you were a kid. You probably didn't, I don't know. I did. But that's what came to mind immediately when the unicorn comes on, is just last unicorn. And that stabs somebody, kills him. I wish there was more of it at the end of the movie. You got like the clowns, you got... I swear there were like Silent Hill nurse things at one point. There were the guys from Hostel. There were the people in Porcelain Mask who I think are referencing Strangers. If you have better knowledge of this, tell me. They had a robotic scorpion. It was a robotic scorpion. Looks like a scorpion at one point. It had evil clowns because I think I know what movie that's referencing, but it could be referencing a lot of things like it. Yeah. It had some ballerino with a... the mouth pretty much went around like a... And basically, I haven't even gotten into the actual plot. Basically, the plot is they go to a cabin in the woods of the title, which is supposed to be the cabin of Turk's cousin, and they go there for a good time, for a party, and the stoner Marty has a coffee cup bong which can go back into coffee cup form, which needs to go on to ThinkGeek. Because that's like one of the coolest things ever.